Hello, carnivores. Welcome back. This is James with another carnivore update. Today is day 151, and I'm down 93 pounds. So, in the past 13 days since my last update, I've lost 3 pounds. It's actually kind of surprising to me that I've lost 3 pounds. 3 pounds is great. I think it's amazing. I took a trip to Washington State a couple weeks ago, right after I released my last video. I was going to go watch at a buddy's house up in Washington State, the college football national championship. Our team, the Washington Huskies, were playing, and they didn't do so hot, but hey, they were playing in it, and I used to go hang out with him. He went to school there. I used to go hang out with him at the UW campus, and so it's like, well, I'll come hang out with him again. And so we all flew up there, hung out with him and his family, had a great time. And while having a great time, I also drank some beer and had some whiskey and ate some food. And yeah, I had a wonderful time. And then I stepped on the scale and I was like, holy crap. I gained 15 pounds over the course of just a couple days from the way I was eating and drinking. And I know that most of that was just, liquids being stored in my body, like water weight essentially. So over the next couple days, most of that fell off right away. Like, maybe 8 pounds of that came off within 2 days of getting off the airplane coming home. And then the rest of it took a little longer. And surprisingly, I didn't feel bad like I did during Thanksgiving. I didn't feel, that sluggish or that exhausted or tired. I didn't actually feel that bad. The only thing I could actually notice is that the scale had a different, a number I didn't want to see. But now I'm actually back to losing again. The past couple days, I've dropped below where I started. I was at 225 when I flew up there. Scale bumped up to 240 briefly. And this morning I was at 222. So I'm back on track. And, I actually didn't expect that I was going to be doing all this, but, it's one of those things. I took a trip and I thought about it a lot, actually. I didn't just all of a sudden, on a whim, just decide to do this. I thought a lot about it while we were traveling. Like, I'm gonna hang out with my buddy that I never see, and it was great. So yeah, I'm doing well, and I've went and today I had to go do some blood work for my upcoming doctor's appointment. It's next week. Um, I was kind of disappointed when I saw they said, "Oh, we only have to get one vial," and I said, "One vial? Normally they take like 4 or 5." And she said, "Yeah, all they ordered was a lipid panel, so they just literally just looking at like my cholesterol." And I was kind of disappointed because I want to see everything. I want to see everything that's going on. And I know the last time I did blood work, I had been on the carnivore diet at that point for about 2 months, about 60 days, and I had big improvements pretty much across the board. I mean, everything was better except for the dreaded LEL, which I'm sure if you've all been watching the carnivore videos, you've seen all the updates from the studies that are coming out about LDL and the lean mass hyperresponder group, which if you talk to someone like a Bart K is just a made up thing that doesn't exist. The cholesterol in his eyes, doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to have heart disease if you have high LDL. So depending on what camp you're in on that, my LDL didn't get worse during my last blood work, but it didn't get better. It pretty much stayed exactly the same. My HDL went up, my triglycerides went down, and my LDL stayed the same. So I guess I'll get to see that, but I wanted to see the rest of it too. And also because in the past they had told me I had hypothyroidism, and I was kind of curious to see if I had any improvements with that. I suspect I probably don't have a real problem with it, mainly because I was told that with hypothyroidism, it would be extremely difficult for me to lose weight, and I have not had a problem losing weight on carnivore. So if there was a problem, either carnivore has helped me with it or it wasn't bad enough that it became a problem. So I don't know which it was, but the actual reason for the doctor visit is actually to renew medication. I still have one medication that I have to take. It's for my anxiety. And I've spoke about this before in a past video, but I'll bring it up again because it's really the last thing that I'm um, trying to fix in my body. And it's the one that's taking the longest, which I'm not surprised. Anything to do with the brain, I guess, usually takes longer. But my initial symptoms, I mean, this started back in, I guess, 2012 or so. I all of a sudden just felt lightheaded all the time. I just was always lightheaded. Like if you stand up and you feel like you're going to faint, like you stand up too fast, that's what I feel all the time. It just would never go away. Wake up, I'd be like that. If I was up walking around, sometimes it would be worse. If I was sitting down, sometimes it would get a little better. But it got to the point I didn't really want to drive because I was afraid I was going to faint at the wheel. You know, I'd have sometimes it would just get really bad and I'd just feel so lightheaded. And they told me that was anxiety. And I said, "What are you talking about? Anxiety?" I didn't even, the thought of it being anxiety never crossed my mind. I kind of didn't believe them. I said, something hit me like a truck. It just was one day a switch flipped and boom, there it was. It's not something that built up over time. It just one day it was there and it never went away. And I was convinced that there's something wrong with me. Maybe I have a brain tumor that all of a sudden is pushing on something and now it's causing, something, or there's cancer. I mean, I had all sorts of stuff going through my head, which of course makes anxiety worse. Um, so he said, "Well, here, take these pills." And he threw me some duloxetine, 60 milligram. And he said, "It's going to take a week or two to take effect, but these should help." And I actually held off on taking them for a little while because I was still convinced that it wasn't just anxiety. I thought there has to be something wrong. The way that it hit me and the way that I felt, I never heard of people talking about anxiety affecting them in that way. Usually, what I hear from people is that they might be in a situation that causes them some anxiety and they have an anxiety attack, or, you know, they have trouble handling certain maybe social scenarios or stress scenarios. But for me, it wasn't anything like that. It didn't matter what I was doing. I'd be home watching TV or laying in bed trying to go to sleep. I mean, and it wasn't, I've had a panic attack in the past. It's not like I'm having a panic attack either. I've had that. This was just straight up this awful feeling that just would not go away. And the pills actually did make it go away. And so for, the past 12 years, I guess before I started carnivore, I just kind of figured, I'll just take these the rest of my life if that's what it takes. But I'm at the point now where I don't really want that. I don't want to be tied to a pill. I don't want to have to go back to the doctor all the time for medication renewals. I don't want to have to do that. And if you want to get down into the prepper mindset, you could say, well, what if the shit hits the fan and now you can't get that and you're dependent on it? Then what? I don't want to be there. I don't want to be dependent on somebody else for a pill so that I can function. So I asked the doctor to, wean me off of it because you can't just quit it cold turkey. Apparently I tried that. It did not work. That was a disaster. So, um, and she is. So I went from the 60 milligram, and 3 months ago they put me on 20s. And so now I'm ready to go down to whatever the next smaller one is. And then hopefully over time we can just keep reducing it to the point that I won't need it anymore. And she still is kind of upset with me for not taking all the statins and all the blood pressure medications and all the things that she wanted me to take. But you know, I told her I would take the risk, of my cholesterol being high, my LDL. I mean, I think it wasn't even like as high as like what is his name, Nick Horowitz, the skinny guy that is doing all the studies and talking about the studies. His was like 400. I mean, mine was only at like 180 or 190 or something. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe still considered high, but even at that, she was just so convinced I'm gonna immediately have a heart attack, and that's the only thing that we really butt heads about is she's just convinced I have to take this statin or I'm going to die soon. And I think that's just because that's what she was taught. And maybe that's the case. Maybe I've done so much damage to my body that over the past 35 years that one day I will have heart problems, but it won't be because of this carnivore diet. If anything, this is going to help me improve those, but we all just have to hope that we didn't do too much damage to begin with. And I think I'll be okay. I'm feeling so good these days, so much more energy, so much more confidence. In fact, I actually just got a promotion at work. I started last week at my promotion. I did the interview and everything, and um, the amount of confidence I feel nowadays is through the roof. I mean, I've always been quite a bit of an introvert, and it's always been hard for me to talk to people. And I don't know what it was, but I didn't really have a problem during the interview talking to the people, on the panel, because there's like the HR person, and there's like three or four other people, and normally I would have been a wreck, but I actually did pretty well, and I got the job, I got the promotion, so that was pretty amazing, and um, I owe it all to carnivore diet. I mean, it's it's had such a profound impact on my life. It finally gives me the opportunity to hopefully come off of pills that I've been taking for years, to get promotions at jobs, to feel better than I felt since I was a kid. And I just, I can never see myself going back to the standard American diet. I'm going to, like I said at the beginning of the video, I might slip up from time to time, but I'm okay with that. I'm planning on that. That's fine. I've already shown that I can mess up and come right back and not have any problems readjusting to carnivore and then staying with it. I mean, if that's what it takes for me to stay with it for the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to do. I won't see that particular friend probably for another, I don't know, 9 months, a year, maybe. I mean, I hadn't seen him for over a year prior, and I don't have anything else coming up in my life, any other reason why I would be drinking or partying or eating a pizza or anything like that. I mean, it's like when you listen to Dr. Chafee, he says, doing anything like that, it's not ideal. And that's what kind of the way I look at it. I don't look at it as I can never do it. I look at it as it's not ideal. It's not optimal. That's the word he uses, optimal. It's not optimal. But that's okay because I'm in it for the long haul, and I'm not going to be optimal 100% of the time. I'm just not going to be that. I'm going to be optimal 99.9% of the time. And to me, I think that's going to be good enough, at least for now. If my health starts to degrade from that twice a year that I've slipped up, then I'll look at readjusting then. But I assure you, I'm extremely strict on how I eat when I am carnivore. So, 300 and let's just say 360 days out of the year, I am so unbelievably strict. I don't have anything that's outside of my diet ever. And then a couple days a year, I don't know, not a big deal to me. So anyhow, yeah, I'm back to losing again. I lost 3 pounds over the past few days. I'm doing good. Going to the doctor soon, and I think it's. I guess to back up a little bit, my doctor. does not know that I'm a carnivore because I'm too much of a wimp to say it. They know that, or she knows that I still have high cholesterol, but she doesn't know why. And I think I might tell her this time because since the start of this, I've lost 93 pounds, and she was very impressed with my weight loss. And like I said, all the other markers on the blood work, she was thrilled. And I think this time I'm finally going to tell her, like, hey, this is due to carnivore. Um, just been eating meat, and I started walking. And on a side note, walking, I still do that about 4 miles a day during the work week. I've been watching Dante Ferrigno's videos, and he's talking about sprinting. That is intriguing. I kind of want to try that. I mean, imagine how much time I could save if I could incorporate sprinting instead of walking, because 4 miles walking, that takes time. I mean, I have to figure out what I'm going to fit that in during the workday, and I always can, but sometimes it's not easy. I got to like try to hurry up and get some stuff done and then sneak off and go walking, and because I can't just not do my work. I got to make sure that gets done. And fortunately, I've always been able to, but imagine if I could go sprinting instead. I mean, holy cow. And even though I'm having fantastic results with walking, I don't know, maybe there'd be worse results. Maybe my progress would slow down, maybe it would speed up, maybe it would stay the same. I don't know. It's something that I've been thinking about. I might try it out this weekend, and if I do, I'll definitely let you guys know in the next video. And I keep saying I'm going to do weekly videos, and I keep messing that up. I keep accidentally skipping a week. And then when I got home from my trip, my sister flew in to visit me. So then I was busy with family here. I've just been so, literally since like Thanksgiving, I've been busy doing stuff, and it's been hard to find time to make these videos. But everyone's gone now. I'm not going anywhere now. I should be able to crank out videos hopefully on a weekly basis now. So, anyways, that's all I got for today. Thanks for stopping by again. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.